Hey everyone, thanks for joining. My name is Kimberly Lincoln with Gaia Provides, and our guest today is Bree Kishman, and she is the founder, I'm correct, and CEO of Hope of Deliverance. They
It's
are
very
a, yes, exactly, we have to be official. They are a rescue based out of New York, I believe, and Tucson, Arizona. Perfect. So, Bree, why don't you give us a little bit of background about, how you got into starting the rescue, what brought you here and how long you've been doing the rescue?
yeah. So I started basically rescuing dogs when I was a little kid out in Ohio. The area that I was in was like a dog dumping ground. So it was kind of in my blood from day one. I went to college out in Long Island. I thought I could get away from the rescue world. It didn't, it kind of just stays with you, right?
Mhm.
So I ended up moving to Tucson, worked with a few rescues out there. It wasn't really up to par on what I in my heart felt like rescue should be about. It was very egotistical, a lot of the different ones I was working with. So I met in a lot of weird circumstances, ended up meeting my rescue partner. So sometimes negative things can happen and a definite positive resolves out of it. We hooked up and we have been saving dogs ever since. So it's just two seasoned rescuers, and now we have an incredible board. And we have over 150 dogs in the last year and a half during a pandemic. We opened our doors like right before it hit.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, so it's been kind of stressful. We couldn't do events, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But we've done relied on social media, relied on things like that, and we have been doing fantastic. So yeah, no regrets, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's all about the community. I mean, I see on your Facebook page, you have all the videos of all the little dogadoos and everything. It's super cute. I love it.
Yeah, it's funny because we are lucky enough in the Tucson area to have, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but Pima Animal Care Center, which
Mhm.
is a massive, county shelter that serves, right now they have 400 dogs and
Yeah.
cats. Huge. So we don't really focus on them, pulling from them. We
Okay.
focus more on the rural areas that are underserved. The one that we mainly pull from only has 18 kennels and two people on
Mm.
staff. It's on the border of
Oh.
Mexico. So
Ah.
their staff is very limited. They have no resources, no vet. So they simply are euthanized for space. So
Mm.
it's not their fault. They do everything
Yeah.
they can. They reach out to us. We, a few other rescues that really have dove in. And if it wasn't for Wanda and Stacy, I don't know what those dogs would do. So we really try to focus on that area. Um, Given that simply euthanizing perfectly healthy dogs for space, and not all of them are healthy, believe me. We've taken in
Yeah.
over $40,000 worth of medical cases last year, owner
Wow.
neglect, things like that. And we also take in a lot of when somebody is elderly and they have, dementia, Alzheimer's, maybe they passed away of cancer or something like that. We absorb their dogs while the family can figure out what they need to do with their parents. So that's something else that we focus on very heavily.
So, question. So, you started right before COVID hit. Were you also experiencing here because they were saying in Tucson, when COVID hit, everyone got a pet. They wanted a dog, they wanted a cat. And then now that restrictions have lifted, they had like 700 animals come in. Are y'all experiencing that as well? Is that a nationwide
We
thing?
we got a couple of returns. The shelters that we pull from are experiencing it more. Because like I said, in that area, there really isn't adequate fencing for owners' yards. It's like a community
Mm.
standard to just kind of let dogs roam, breed on the streets. A lot of the dogs just keep jumping fences where they're left unattended all day, and then the owners don't care to redeem them. They get accidentally pregnant, which isn't a thing. There are resources if you have low income in order to get your animal fixed so these issues don't occur. But that definitely did affect us a lot. We got a lot more phone calls, even people in the community reaching out to us as far as, hey, we're moving, or we started work again and now it's too busy. Well, ironically enough, that animal had time for you when it was
Yeah.
convenient, and now you're not giving that time. So something that we very heavily try to help with is we try to provide training. So if somebody does need to relinquish a pet, we try to give them all the options of, we'll help you with training or anything we can do to help you keep your pet. If it's a good home, we try to help with that. So that's a big deal, so we definitely have been affected by it heavily, heavily.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I mean, a pet is for life. So if you're looking to
And a
adopt,
lot of people went out and got
yeah,
puppies, and now they're the adolescent age that it's like, I tell people, if you're going to get a puppy, be prepared until they're a year and a half old. It's puppyhood
yeah.
number two.
Oh yeah.
So, just be prepared for their adolescent stage. And that is what the shelter is mostly filled with, are
Mm,
that age. And, they're not put in proper environments. You don't get a puppy who is a high energy dog that you don't have the time for, and then they're only going to get higher energy as they get older, and
yeah,
right back at the shelter they go. So it's definitely impacted us. I mean, the shelters reach out to us as far as, we're at capacity. We don't know what to do. Do
right.
you guys have room? And just as those people are returning the dogs, our fosters are also, they now need a break. They want to go on vacation. They can go out and
Mm.
do things where they helped us so much during the pandemic, and now they can do. So it's difficult, but we're trying to get our way through it.
Yeah. So I mean, you're a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, so you rely solely on donations.
Yes.
What's the biggest thing that your rescue needs funding and help with right now financially?
So at the moment, it's we currently have a certain amount of dogs. Right now, we have about 20 dogs in our care, and all those dogs need food every day. They need kennels to sleep in, because we like to get dogs. We know nothing about their background unless they're an owner surrender, and we take that with a grain of salt. So we try to
Yeah.
crate train our fosters. All of our dogs are in a foster based situation. So they are in people's houses. So we never let anybody pay for their own supplies unless they're very adamant about it.
Okay.
Routine vet care. All of our dogs are fully vaccinated. They're microchipped. They get a 4DX test, which is distemper, parvo, tick fever. We've
Okay.
taken in dogs that are seemingly perfectly healthy. We do that test. We find out the dog's dying of heartworm. So it's
Mm,
something that you don't know unless you test their blood.
yeah.
So those are a few dogs we have in our care right now that are they need tumors removed because they weren't spayed when they were younger. As they get older, they're 10 years old. They've never been spayed. Now they have mammary tumors. So there's dogs that have to have tumors removed. We have dogs that need their heartworm injections, which is a very touch and go thing. Um, and like I said, routine vaccinations, routine spay and neuters are huge. That's mainly
Yeah.
that's number one on our list.
Yeah.
So even when we get a dog that doesn't have heartworm or tick fever or anything like that, they still need altered, they still need vaccinations, they still need microchips so we know where they are. The owners will know
Yeah.
where they are. So things like that, those are huge right now.
So when your dogs come into the shelter, do the majority of them have like the heartworm cases, like the severe medical cases? Like what percent of that is your case
We
is
have
your dogs?
taken, I would say so far, as far as, medical dogs, we've taken 50 to 60% are medical dogs.
Wow, okay.
And 25% of those at least have been severe medical cases. We had four dogs, just those four dogs had cost us over $25,000
Wow.
in mouth tumors. One we got, he looked perfectly healthy until our foster said, "Hey, by the way, it looks like there's chewed bubble gum under his lip." And I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, let's get him, a consult from a dental specialist." We took him in, and he said that's actually a tumor, and he had to take off half of his jaw.
No.
Um, we had one who was a perfectly adorable little healthy puppy who was only 5 months old and should have lived until she was 15. And because she was left unattended in a backyard or whatever it was, she actually had a stick wedged above her mouth.
Oh
So
my
if you let
God.
your dog sit and chew on sticks, and you don't
Yeah.
check your dog's mouth often, something so simple, and it actually rotted all the way through her
Oh
top
my God.
jaw, where the top of her mouth had to be taken out. And unfortunately, she didn't make it. A six thousand
Oh,
dollar situation turned into, we did everything we could,
yeah.
but her body just could not beat the infection that a simple stick caused. So stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, we had one who was found chained to a tree, and the maggots were actually already eating her
Oh my
alive.
God.
And she had a double entropion eye surgery. She became perfectly healthy, and now she's living a long, healthy life.
Oh,
So things like that are very common in the area, and I wish it weren't true. But
yeah. It
this is where
it
we
it
are.
it's the reality. I mean, you can't ignore it. I mean, it yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'm about to start
Reality can
crying
be
over
very
here.
grim, but on the
Yeah.
bright side, they are living long, healthy, happy lives because
Yeah.
we have intercepted those, and that is our main focus is trying to get cases like that mainly. You know, we had one, by the way, July 4th is right around the corner. And if people don't realize, fireworks are not just PTSD for veterans and things like that. Fireworks
Yeah.
can also be a PTSD trigger for dogs. And Bruce is a case that is our long term case. We've had him for a year and a half now. And
Mm.
he was left shot. It was 120 degrees out in the desert. They found him shot laying on top of his deceased companion, and she was shot. So those 4th of July comes around, and those are the kind of animals that we have to keep calm, keep safe. You know, stuff like that, that people just, human nature is very selfish. So we see the worst, but we also see the best. So
Yeah.
people like us who just keep trying and keep trying to, like Wanda, my rescue partner says,
Mhm.
emptying the ocean with a Dixie cup. We keep
Yeah.
trying, and those who we can make differences, we celebrate. And those
Yeah.
who unfortunately have passed away, we forge forward in their honor, you know.
Oh, I'm gonna start crying over here. So tell me about the name. I know. Tell me about the name Hope of Deliverance. Where did you come up with that?
Hope of Deliverance is actually a Paul McCartney song. I'm a Paul
Oh,
McCartney fanatic, so
okay.
there you go. And it's an incredibly inspirational song, Hope of Deliverance from the darkness that surrounds us. So it's a very underrated song that should be out there more, that's for sure. So look it up, and it'll put a smile on your face, I promise.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Gotta wipe my little
No
tears
crying,
here.
it's
I
okay.
know. Goodness gracious. Okay. So tell me about I mean, you just told us about Bruce, but what's your worst case that you've experienced and
Oh, let me think.
saved?
Bruce, I would say Lily, the girl that I just told you about. But we actually have Mama Dog. Mama Dog is, her name is Blanche Devereaux. She is our golden girl, very sweet. She was rescued from the streets of Mexico where she had two puppies that the owners, we do have a contact in Mexico. So sometimes we do
Okay.
take Mexico dogs. And as bad as the Southern Arizona community cases, as far as these dogs go in Mexico, think that times 10 times worse. So,
Yeah, I can't even
um,
imagine.
yeah, Mama Dog came from Mexico. Our contact there said, hey, we have two puppies that they surrendered. So we were able to quickly get the puppies, but they wouldn't surrender Mom.
Mm.
Um, so we were keeping tabs on Mom, and she said a few witnesses in the area saw her being repetitively punched in the face by kids until her jaw broke. So her jaw broke, and then she was hit by a car. So then her back leg was broken. So the owners at that point were just letting her roam, and it was kind of like, let's just confiscate her ourselves. Not
Yeah.
like a vigilante justice, but the best that we could do. So we took her in. She had tick fever, she had TVT cancer, which in the very southern Arizona area, because it's creeping up from Mexico, is a sexually transmitted cancer of dogs that are not
Oh.
spayed and neutered. So
Oh.
as they mate, it's transferred, and it is a horrific end to a dog's life. So you can get them like chemotherapy and things like that. So she did go through chemotherapy. She fought tick fever, her broken leg healed, and her jaw is a little wonky, but she is happy, healthy, 3 years old. She is
Oh.
going to live a great life. But to think that that was acceptable behavior, I there aren't enough words. So she
Yeah.
is, I would say, our biggest case. That is something to be said. That you know, no matter how hard life knocks you down, literally, you can still fight back as hard as you possibly can and get back up and keep fighting. So she is an angel, and she's actually still up for adoption. So if anybody is interested, Mama Blanche Devereaux, you know,
Oh. Okay.
you're
And is
welcome to
she
it.
is she here in Tucson, I assume?
She is. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna be adopting again soon, so I'm definitely
She is.
gonna.
Whenever you're ready, we got you. So you just
Okay.
say the word. But yeah, she's a very special case, a very special girl, very special name given to her. So it's not
Yeah.
like she wouldn't have been a fighter from the get, but she's certainly a trooper. Maybe we'll do a T-shirt of her next. You know,
Yeah, I like it. Oh, so it seems just a question to you. I mean, when I've gone to shelters, it seems like a majority of them are pit bulls. Is that the case that you're rescuing a lot of the blockheads, the
Yeah,
bullies?
and unfortunately, the shelter that we pull from, they are not legally allowed to adopt out pits, so it's rescue
Oh,
only because, and this is why it's not their fault, it's strictly preventative. There is a lot of dog fighting in the area, so they do what they can to say, "Hey, rescues, you're pulling," or
okay.
we don't. Yeah, because their adoption fee is extremely low. Like I said, there's no vet on staff, so there's no spay and
Yeah,
neutering. So these animals can be adopted out, and unfortunately, you can't control what happens once they're adopted,
right.
and their resources are extremely limited. So, yes, bully breeds are our number one because it's such a backyard bred
Yeah,
situation, and owners do not alter. Things like that. So it is definitely where our heart and soul is. They are incredible, incredible animals, and I have two of them, my own, and that's my
yeah.
husband. Sorry,
It's
I have
okay.
two of them of my own, and they are just wonderful. So yeah, we try to spread education as far
Okay.
as they're not what you think. They have
Yeah,
this negative stigma on them because thank you society, and every 10 years
yeah,
it's something else, whether it's the German shepherd or the rottweiler or the chow chow. It's always going to be something. But
yeah.
when you have bad breeding, bad genetics, and backyard situations, this is what happens. Unfortunately, people think they're helping in backyard breeding situations. So you go
Mm,
in and you see a dog, oh, it's only $200-300, but I'm helping because I'm getting that dog out of there. No, you're putting
yeah,
money in their pocket to continue. So it is
it's
something. And
true.
then pass the clock in a year, that dog's going to be at the shelter. One of those puppies in that litter or more of them will be at the shelter. And here we are again. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. Well, you're doing everything you can and the best you can with
All
what
you
you
can do.
resources you have. So I,
That's all you can do, man.
yeah, I commend you for everything. So, okay.
Somebody's got to do it. Our team is incredible. I don't know what I would do without them. I truly
Yeah.
don't. Daniela, Jenny, Jennifer, Wanda, Stacy, Annie, these people are on the ground, always at it. They will save a dog at the drop of a hat, and they are just seriously,
They're your people.
yeah.
We appreciate y'all. Definitely. Okay. So y'all, I know that y'all recently, I believe, got some treats from Gaia Provides.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I would imagine, with everything they go through, they're anxious, they're obviously in extreme pain, stuff like that. So, the
Yeah.
treats can help them with that. What have you noticed with giving them the treats?
So here's the wonderful thing about it. We start out with dogs, like I said, that have PTSD. So it can help dogs in those anxiety situations.
Mhm.
4th of July is around the corner. Even if you have a dog that's okay for most of the year, when things like fireworks are going off, I mean, they scare me. So,
Yeah.
give them something like that. It helps their anxiety. Dogs like Mama Dog, dogs like Martha, dogs like Sadie, these are seniors that come in, and a simple medication for pain doesn't help.
Yes.
The CBD treats help that extra mile as far as their comfort goes. So, and you're talking about dogs too, like my personal dog Stuart, who is a Jack Russell, purebred Jack Russell Terrier from Ohio, and I just did a DNA test. I grew up with Jack Russells, so I knew that wasn't the
Oh,
case. He was a backyard bred dog who is Jack Russell Chihuahua Beagle.
oh,
And one of the genetic dispositions of constantly doing backyard breeding are things like luxating patellas in a dog's leg, where their little kneecap just keeps moving.
oh,
So things of that nature will speed up things such as arthritis. So you give a
hmm,
dog CBD treats now when they're young, they're going to have such a better quality of life in the future, and it's going to help with that inflammation, with the arthritis, and with those sorts of things. Dogs like Mama Dog, hit by a car, hit in the face.
yeah,
Her jaw healed on its own, but it doesn't mean in the future she's not going to develop arthritis.
yeah.
So these situations always happen, and those treats help these dogs tenfold with their comfort, with their anxiety. People have no idea what a great resource it is, really.
Yeah, I mean, I can attest to that. So my girl Paris that I told you about, we put her down. She was diagnosed with lymphoma, and they gave her 2 months to live. And they're like, we can do radiation chemo, and I'm like, I didn't want to do that because I knew she wasn't going to have a quality of life. So, we completely
And there's
switched
no
her.
guarantee after that. You'll
No,
put the
and that's what
dog
they
through
said.
that and then,
And not to mention the cost too, I
oh
mean,
Lord. Yeah.
yeah, I love my dog, but $5,000. I mean, that's,
And there's,
not,
like I said, there's no guarantee. You're putting her
mm-mm.
through more pain than she is currently. It's,
Yeah. Yeah. She was a beast. I mean, she survived. I'll show you a little picture of her right here. This Paris tag.
oh my
It's so
goodness.
pretty. So, I started giving her the tincture, the treats, and I mean, she actually completely lost her mobility to get up and walk. So we were having to get her up after 2 weeks within taking the CBD. I was using a high dose, the treats. She was up moving around, even to the day that we had her put down here at home. Um, she was up, she was
Yeah.
walking around. So I mean, it's definitely, improving the quality of life, even just for
Yes.
like end of life care, like anything like that, just
Yeah, and like I said,
overall.
we take a lot of dogs. We've taken quite a few whose owners are actually at end of life care, whether they have
Oh
cancer, whether they
yeah.
have memory loss or something like that. And we take their pets. We've taken quite a few of them, and they're generally older pets as well. So
Yeah.
we let the family focus on that and we take over the pet portion of it. And those treats definitely help them with, their ease, their comfort, and a lot of times their transition to end of life,
Yeah.
when you really think about it. And there's always got to be somebody there holding their paw. So it might sound,
Yeah.
grim, but it is a very comforting notion, not only throughout their life, our younger dogs, like I said, they have been through a lot of trauma and they're benefiting through
Yeah.
this with the treats, but then the end of life care as well. That's a huge, huge difference to making them comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. So for our campaign, just for everyone who's watching, basically what we're planning on is Hope of Deliverance is going to have their own perk. So you can donate towards the rescue directly. We're also going to donate a total percent of proceeds raised from our campaign to our rescues. And how this is working for when you donate to Hope of Deliverance specifically is they're going to be able to buy our treats at cost and then resell them if they want for profit or just to give to the dogs. So we're basically helping them with that. So
Double
that's how
help.
that's
Yeah,
working.
we can't thank
Yeah,
you guys
exactly.
enough. This is an
Yeah.
incredible opportunity and it's benefiting the dogs so much. People,
Hmm.
it's going to help benefit and educate people, their own personal pets
Yeah.
and our pets. So it's just a double positive, at the end of the day. So thank you, seriously.
Yeah. Oh, of course, definitely. So what do you want to say to anyone out there, to the backers, to anyone out there?
Yeah, like I said, we're going to help educate you on not only helping our dogs, but helping your personal dogs with what you can use these treats for. So think of it that way. Think of it of the fact that they're helping our dogs with the things I mentioned before, quality of life, end of life, comfort, but these can also, they're very accessible and things that you can use. It's not like this inaccessible product, it's everyday things that can help dogs so much. I know plenty of people who have dogs with high anxiety, things like that, and they don't know what to do.
Hmm.
And these treats help so much. Like people don't realize that. So you can really help your own dog, and it's going to help your life a lot
Yeah.
by not feeding off that anxiety. It's a big circle.
Yeah.
The dog's anxious, you're anxious because
Mhm.
of the dog. And then it just keeps rotating and they're going to feed off your energy. So let's make our dogs
Yeah.
comfortable. And especially after 2020, I think we can all kind of have a breather.
A
So this
freaking
will help.
man.
This
Yeah,
will help big time. So not only help
definitely.
us, but help us help you as well. I think that's really the key point to all of this for sure.
Perfect. So is there anything else? I know you said you had some stuff you wanted to touch on. What else did you want to touch on?
I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay.
We touched on some of our biggest cases, which really hit home to me a lot. I'm personally helping one of my dogs, my personal dogs, transition into an end of life situation.
Yeah.
She was found out in Pinal County. It was over 100
Okay.
degrees, and she was a roaming stray Great Dane with massive mammary tumors all over her
Oh,
and severe arthritis. So I thought I was going to get a couple of months out of her, and she is now 2 years strong
aw,
with us, 11 years old, and I am very
wow.
happy.
That's old
Yeah.
for a Great
So
Dane.
Yes. So not only that, I mean, like I said, she has cancer. She has extreme arthritis. She's a little bit senile, but she's keeping her scruples together the best she can. And,
Yeah, she's
and
doing great.
yeah, so these treats are going to help her. They help her arthritis, and they're also going
Mhm.
to help her transition into that peaceful moment here soon. So it is something that is very beneficial at all and humans and animals alike for peace of mind for you and your pet if you care about animals as much as we do. So,
Yeah.
I think it's a big touching stone for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're the animal lovers out there. I mean, we're a passionate group, so I have no doubt that, going to be successful and we'll be able to help lots
Yeah.
of doggy dogs together. And so
Yes.
do
Yes.
you only do dogs or do you do cats as well?
We only do dogs. We did a
Okay.
rabbit once.
Oh,
So a one-eared rabbit that was found.
oh,
Yeah, one of my board members, her mom adopted little Vincent Van Gogh. So we mostly just because none of us are very cat experienced.
okay,
We like I said together, most of us we've had about 40 years of seasoned rescue experience.
okay,
So that is a huge thing, but it's all with dogs. And I wish
okay.
that we could be more savvy with cats, but my brain is not a cat brain.
Yeah, yeah. That's okay. I mean, you're doing your thing, you're doing your part. So
We do what we know and we
yeah,
expand on what we know and we
exactly.
try to do that. But we do have some, if anybody's ever interested in adopting a cat, we have some great cat resources in
Okay,
Tucson. Southern Arizona Cat Rescue, they are fantastic. Alexis
okay,
has also helped us save dogs, and vice
okay.
versa. So the rescue community is pretty tight down
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that makes sense. So hopeofdeliverance.inc is
It
that
is
I know
hopeofdeliverance.org.
dot
Yes.
org. Okay,
Yep.
so that's your website, hopeofdeliverance.org, and then you're on Facebook at Hope of
Are
Deliverance.
Yep, at Hope of
You're on
Deliverance. Same with Instagram.
Instagram.
Yep,
Okay,
and we
what
do have a
about are
Twitter
you on?
floating around somewhere.
Okay, and Twitter.
So
Okay. Yeah, I mean Twitter's me.
I don't tweet. One of our
Yeah,
directors, she helps me out with the tweeting. So
yeah. No,
a
that's
big
great.
thing. We all have like that little thing that we're good at, so to speak. So
Exactly, and that's what makes the
that's
business
all
and the
her.
nonprofits run for sure.
We that's one thing that's huge about our rescue is we try to reach out and let people know we will welcome you with open arms. Just because you can't foster doesn't mean you're not included. So if
Yeah.
you want to transport a dog, take them to a vet appointment. If you want to hold a dog at an event, if you want to help us sell stuff,
Okay.
t-shirts at an event or whatever, everybody's always included. You can run social media, great. If you can do that
Okay.
part. So we try to be all inclusive with everybody, and that's really what we call it, our village, and we try to make it very strong. So
Takes a village to do
yep,
things in community. I mean, it's all about that community support. I mean,
that is
100%.
it. That is it, my friend.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's all I have for now. Anything else? I think that's
I think
good.
we're good, my friend. I think we're
Yeah,
good.
so
Thank you so much again.
yeah,
You.
I'm excited.
We're excited. We're very excited, very humbled, and anything you need, we're here.
Sounds good. All right, thank you, Bree. I appreciate it. Have a
Be
good one.
well.
Okay, bye.